Awaken your spirit, chosen ones. A world without darkness is a myth, but a world without you, that's a nightmare they cannot afford. For centuries, the battle between light and dark has raged on, but history never mentions the one who doesn't fight for balance or harmony. No, history whispers of the destroyer, the one chosen not to save the world but to dismantle its darkest forces. Here's a little-known fact. Every legend of a chosen one across cultures is less about glory and more about consequence. The job description isn't hero, but the last option. And here's the twist. You're not here to negotiate or bring peace treaties to the table. Your job is to ensure those tables never exist again. People won't thank you. They might even hate you. But while they're busy judging, you'll be busy doing what no one else has the guts to do. Burning out the roots of corruption, fear, and shadows that have plagued the world for far too long. The irony? You'll probably destroy yourself along the way, but hey, no one ever said being the universe's ultimate bug spray was going to be easy. Number 1. You are not a hero. You are a reckoning. You are not here to save the day. You are not the shining knight in armor, the hopeful beacon, or the hero in anyone's story. You are something far more brutal, far more necessary. You are a reckoning, a force sent not to preserve but to dismantle. Your purpose isn't to heal, it's to cut out the rot so deep that it threatens everything. The world doesn't need another savior. It has had its share of them. Idealists who patch the cracks and leave the foundation intact. You're not here to plaster over problems or offer comfort. You're here to destroy the structures that give darkness a place to grow. This isn't a quest for justice or fairness. It's a mission of annihilation. The dark forces you face are woven into the fabric of existence, deeply embedded, clever, and relentless. No hero's speech will make them retreat. They don't flinch at hope. They only fear eradication. Your arrival is not a celebration. It's a warning. People sense what you are before they even know your name. They see the storm in your eyes, feel the weight of your presence, and instinctively understand you are not here for peace. The world will never look the same after you've done your work, and that's exactly why you exist. This path isn't clean, it's brutal, ugly, and unforgiving. You won't leave a legacy of shining monuments. You'll leave ruins where corruption once stood. That's the difference between a hero and a destroyer. Heroes are remembered for saving the day. You will be remembered for ensuring that the darkness, once destroyed, has no day left to return. Number 2. The world doesn't want you, it needs you. The truth is, no one asked for you. The world didn't gather in unison, light candles, and pray for a destroyer to come. They wanted a hero, someone to save them neatly and restore the world without breaking it. But what the world wants and what it needs are rarely the same. And you are the answer to a need they're too afraid to admit. Your existence isn't a comfort, it's a confrontation. People don't look at you and see salvation. They see their own fragility reflected back at them. You are a walking reminder that their systems, their safety nets, their illusions of control were never enough to stop the creeping darkness. If they could solve it, you wouldn't be here. But they couldn't. And now they have you. They fear you because they don't understand you. They fear you because you bring chaos, not calm. In their eyes, your presence is proof that things are worse than they ever imagined. You aren't a neatly packaged savior they can point to and celebrate. You're unpredictable, uncontrollable, and entirely necessary. But that fear doesn't matter. What matters is the mission. The world doesn't have to like you, trust you, or even accept you. You're not here for their approval. You're here to do what must be done. And when it's over, when the darkness is finally destroyed, they'll breathe a sigh of relief, not for what they've gained, but for what they've survived. You don't need their gratitude. You don't even need their understanding. You are not here for them to love. You are here because the world cannot endure without you, and deep down, they know it. Number 3. Darkness isn't just evil, it's seductive. Darkness isn't just something you fight, it's something that fights for you. It doesn't come at you with brute force alone. It whispers, tempts, and worms its way into your thoughts. The dark forces you're destined to destroy don't just live outside of you. They exist in the cracks of your mind, waiting for a moment of weakness. And here's the truth no one talks about. Darkness is seductive. It's not just destruction and despair. It's power. It's freedom. It's the promise of something easier, something you've secretly longed for but never dared to admit. This isn't about monsters that growl in the shadows. The darkness is clever. It doesn't just want to destroy you. It wants to own you. It tells you what you want to hear. Why fight so hard? Why carry this burden alone? Why destroy us when we could make you unstoppable? It shows you visions of a life where you don't have to bear the weight of being the chosen one, where you're not the outcast, the destroyer, the one feared by all. It plays to your deepest fears and desires, promising that everything could be different if only you let it in. The battle against darkness isn't just external. It's within you, every day. The line between you and the forces you're meant to destroy is thinner than anyone realizes, and sometimes you can feel yourself slipping. Because the truth is, the darkness isn't always wrong. It knows your pain, your frustration, your doubts. It doesn't just fight against you, it understands you. And that's what makes it so dangerous. To destroy the darkness, you'll have to resist its pull every step of the way. The question is, how long can you keep winning before it wins you? Number 4. Destruction demands sacrifice. Destruction is never a one-sided exchange. The power to destroy comes with a cost so steep it will strip away pieces of who you are, piece by piece, until you're left questioning what's left. Your innocence is the first to go. There's no room for it when you're tasked with annihilation. You don't get to see the world through the lens of hope or idealism anymore. You see it for what it is, flawed, messy, and sometimes deserving of the destruction you bring. Then goes your humanity. To wield the kind of power it takes to destroy darkness, you must embrace something beyond human. This isn't about compassion or morality, it's about efficiency. You can't hesitate, can't flinch, can't afford the luxuries that make life bearable for ordinary people. Every decision you make is calculated, detached, and ruthless. And after a while, that changes you. Your identity is the last to slip away. Bit by bit, the person you once were, the one with dreams, fears, and a name, fades into the weapon you've become. You might not even notice it happening until one day someone calls out to you and you don't recognize the name they use. You've become the destroyer, nothing more. But the question that lingers, the one that keeps gnawing at the back of your mind, is this. When all of this is over, will there be anything left of you to reclaim? Or will the person who existed before the mission, the person who laughed, loved, and believed, be lost forever? It's the price you pay for wielding this power, and the truth is, you'll never know if the sacrifice was worth it until it's too late to turn back. Number 5. Your power is a curse. Masquerading as a gift. Power always looks like a gift to those who don't have it. To them, you're extraordinary, chosen, special, above the rest. But what they don't see is the curse that comes with it. This power you carry wasn't something you asked for. It was thrust upon you, a responsibility you didn't get to refuse. And with every use of it, you're reminded that it isn't just a tool. It's a burden that chips away at you with every step forward. Every victory you achieve comes at a price, one you never fully realize until it's too late. The people you save don't see the cost. Another scar etched on your body. Another night where the screams of battle echo in your head. Another piece of yourself lost in the fight. They only see the result. The destroyer who crushed the enemy, the weapon that made their survival possible. But you know the truth. You're not saving the world. You're paying its debt in blood, sanity, and soul, piece by piece. It's a lonely road too. No one truly understands what it means to carry this weight. Even those who fight beside you can only guess at what it's like to be the one chosen for this role. They might admire your strength, but they'll never truly trust you. How could they? Your power is terrifying, unpredictable, and all-consuming. You walk into battle knowing that when the dust settles, they'll look at you with as much fear as gratitude. You never asked to be the destroyer. You never wanted this power. And yet, here it is, defining you, isolating you, and shaping every decision you make. What others see as a gift has stolen your freedom, your peace, and maybe even your future. The curse isn't the power itself, it's what it's made of you. Number 6. Your allies fear you more than the enemy. Your allies may march beside you, but deep down they're watching their backs, watching you. They'll fight alongside you because they need your strength, but trust, that's a luxury they can't afford. The truth is, your power doesn't just inspire awe, it inspires fear. You're not just the weapon they rely on, you're the weapon they're afraid might turn on them. It's not paranoia. They've seen what you can do. They've watched you destroy enemies with a force that shakes the ground beneath their feet, leaving nothing but ruins in your wake. They know that same power, the same unstoppable destruction, could obliterate them just as easily. One wrong move, one moment of unchecked rage, and the line between ally and casualty could vanish. And it's not just what you could do, it's what they can't predict. You're not like them. While they train, strategize, and rely on teamwork, your power doesn't follow their rules. It's wild, raw, and utterly beyond their control. They can't help but wonder, if they don't fully understand the force you wield, how can they trust that you've mastered it? This distance isn't something you can fix. No explanation or reassurance will change how they feel. In their eyes, you're not one of them. You're something other. A force of nature, not a comrade. They might cheer when you turn the tide of battle, but their relief is always tinged with unease. You carry the weight of their fear as much as their reliance, knowing that even your closest allies are waiting for the day you go too far. They may follow you into war, but in the quiet moments after the fighting ends, they wonder if they should fear you more than the enemy you just destroyed. At number 7, the line between destroyer and dark forces is razor thin. The hardest truth to face is that the dark forces you're sworn to destroy aren't as foreign as you'd like to believe. They're not some distant alien evil. They are reflections of everything you hate, fear, and struggle to control within yourself. The rage that drives you into battle, the darkness thrives on it, the power that surges through you, the very force that makes you the destroyer. It's the same energy they wield. You're not separate from the darkness. You're connected to it. Every time you draw on your power, every time you let anger or despair guide your actions, you edge closer to the forces you're trying to obliterate. The line between you and them is so thin it almost disappears. What makes you different? Is it your intent? Your choices? Or are you just one more pawn in a never-ending cycle, destined to destroy until you no longer recognize yourself? And that's the danger. The darkness doesn't just want to defeat you, it wants to absorb you. It whispers that you're not so different, that you understand its pain because it mirrors your own. It tempts you with the idea that instead of fighting, you could embrace it, let it consume you and become unstoppable. You tell yourself you're in control, that you're using your power for good. But how long can you walk that razor-thin line before you slip? Every battle brings you closer to the edge. Every time you destroy, you feel that pull, the sense that it would be so much easier to give in. To destroy the dark forces, you must face the truth. They are part of you. The real fight isn't about defeating them. It's about refusing to let them claim you, even as they threaten to become all you are. Number 8. Your mission will never be fully understood. The world doesn't know how to honor someone like you. People want stories of heroes who save without breaking, who leave behind gleaming monuments, not scorched earth. They crave tales of triumph that end in glory, not the harsh reality of what salvation often requires: destruction. You don't fit the mold of what they expect, and so they will never fully understand the depth of what you've done for them. You won't see your name etched in stone or hear songs sung in your honor. Your victories don't come wrapped in celebration. Instead, they leave behind ruins, smoldering remains of what had to be destroyed so something better could rise. People don't see the salvation in ashes. They only see what was lost, and in their eyes, you'll always be the one who brought ruin, not renewal. They'll ask why it had to be this way. Couldn't you have spared more? Couldn't you have done it differently? They'll ignore the fact that without your intervention, the darkness would have consumed everything. They'll focus on the destruction you left behind, not the threat you eradicated. To them, your actions will seem excessive, your power too dangerous, your methods too harsh. But you already know this. You accepted long ago that your mission isn't about being celebrated. It's about ensuring the world survives, even if it never thanks you. They don't have to understand you. They don't even have to like you. What matters is that you do what no one else can. One day, when the dust settles, and the darkness is nothing more than a distant memory, they'll forget your face. They'll remember the destruction, not the salvation. And that's the price of being the destroyer, saving a world that may never even realize it needed saving. Number 9. Dark forces aren't just monsters, they're systems. The dark forces you're up against aren't just the monsters lurking in the shadows or the villains waiting to be vanquished. They are the very systems that hold the world together. Systems built on corruption, inequality, and fear. They aren't always easy to see, but they are everywhere. They hide in the laws that oppress, the institutions that exploit, and the societal norms that keep people locked in cycles of powerlessness. These aren't simple, isolated evils. They are deeply woven into the fabric of the world itself. You may think the fight is about slaying creatures or overthrowing a tyrant, but the real battle lies in dismantling the systems that keep darkness alive. These structures don't just support the evil, they are the evil. Every corrupt law, every unjust hierarchy, every act of manipulation is a building block of the force you're trying to destroy. To eradicate darkness, you need to tear these systems down piece by piece. But here's the brutal truth. In doing so, you risk becoming just like the forces you're fighting. You can't destroy a system without reshaping everything it holds up, every comfort, every piece of stability. And once you start to dismantle, you'll realize how fragile everything truly is. Destroying these systems doesn't just change the world, it shakes the very ground under your feet. Can you do that and remain unchanged? Will you start seeing the very things you destroy as necessary, and in doing so, perpetuate the cycle of power you swore to eliminate? This isn't a simple fight of good versus evil. It's a war against the structures that uphold evil in the first place. Will you break them down, or will you become just another part of the machine you vowed to destroy? The real question isn't how you fight the darkness, it's how you fight the systems that sustain it. Number 10. Being the chosen one. Doesn't grant immunity from doubt. Being the chosen one doesn't mean you're immune to doubt. In fact, it's often the opposite. The higher the power, the deeper the questions. No matter how many enemies you destroy, how many victories you rack up, there's always a nagging voice in the back of your mind asking, am I really doing the right thing, or am I just feeding the chaos I'm meant to eradicate? Power doesn't shield you from the existential dread that comes with the territory. You can wield the most destructive forces in existence, but when the dust settles, when the adrenaline fades, you're left alone with your thoughts. And that's when the questions begin. You might tell yourself you're saving the world, but when you're standing amidst the wreckage, you can't help but wonder if you've created something worse. Did your actions actually change anything, or did you just add more fuel to the fire? The chosen one isn't some untouchable figure who stands above doubt. You're as human as anyone else, even if your path has been carved in blood. You may wonder if you become just another cog in a never-ending cycle of destruction. Maybe you're not fighting darkness, you're just feeding it. Maybe this mission, this identity, isn't as clear-cut as everyone makes it out to be. At the end of the day, doubt is something you'll always have to face. There's no shield against it, no armor that will keep you safe from the crushing weight of uncertainty. And that's part of the burden. The chosen one isn't invincible. You're just as vulnerable to doubt, and in some ways, that makes your struggle even more profound. It's not the battle you face in the world that's the hardest, it's the one you fight within yourself. Number 11. Your power will make you obsolete. There's a bitter truth that comes with being the chosen one. If you succeed, your very existence becomes unnecessary. The moment you destroy the darkness, the world no longer needs you. You've done what no one else could, wiped out the forces that threatened everything, and yet in doing so, you've sealed your own obsolescence. The world won't need you as a hero anymore. In fact, it might not need you at all. This isn't a tale of eternal glory. It's not about being remembered as the savior or the one who changed everything for the better. It's about the uncomfortable reality that your success means disappearance. The structures you fought against will fall, the darkness will be erased, and in their place, there will be nothing for you to do. You'll no longer be needed to wield power, no longer be the one who holds everything together. You'll be left with the haunting question, who are you when the war is over and there are no more battles to fight? It's a strange kind of defeat, the realization that your purpose was never about your survival but about the world's. You will have given everything, destroyed everything, and made yourself obsolete in the process. There's no grand victory, no monument that will mark your place in history. Just a quiet, lingering question. Can you live with being irrelevant in the very world you fought to save? It's a tough question. After all the destruction, after all the bloodshed, will you be able to accept fading into the background, your role completed, your legacy nothing more than the absence of what once was? The hardest part of being the chosen one might not be the battle itself. It might be letting go of everything you've ever been when there's nothing left to fight for. Number 12. Even the destroyer needs a reason to keep going. Even the destroyer, with all their power and fury, needs a reason to keep moving forward. Without purpose, the relentless force of destruction becomes hollow. You're not a mindless weapon programmed to annihilate anything in your path. There's something deeper driving you. The question is, what is it? Is it revenge, that burning need to pay back a world that's wronged you? Or is it duty, the burden you never asked for, but one you carry nonetheless? Maybe it's hope that somewhere, somehow, your actions will make the world better, even if you can't see it. Or perhaps it's sheer spite, that quiet but powerful rage against a universe that gave you no choice but to become this thing. Whatever it is, it has to be enough to keep you going. Because without that reason, without something to hold on to in the darkest moments, even the destroyer can break. You could easily become nothing more than a force of chaos, a beast without direction, a tool of destruction for destruction's sake. Without a guiding purpose, all the power you wield will become meaningless. It will consume you as much as it consumes everything else in its path. But as long as you have a reason, a spark, no matter how small, you will keep moving forward. Maybe it's revenge for the lives lost or the injustices you can never undo. Maybe it's the weight of duty that keeps you from turning away, knowing you're the only one capable of stopping the darkness. Or maybe it's the hope that even in your destruction, there is the possibility of creating something better. The moment you lose that reason, you become just another casualty of the war you're fighting. Without purpose, the destroyer isn't a savior or a force of justice. They're just a weapon waiting to be extinguished. So find your reason. It's the one thing that will keep you from becoming the very darkness you seek to destroy. In the end, being the chosen one, the destroyer, is not about glorifying the power you wield, but confronting the cost that comes with it. It's about understanding that the very forces you fight are not so different from the rage, despair, and power that fuel you. You're not just battling monsters or dark forces. You're dismantling systems, confronting your own inner darkness, and ultimately questioning your place in a world that may not need you once the battle is won. The victory you crave comes with the realization that you might never be celebrated, only feared, misunderstood, and made obsolete. And yet, that's what makes it worth it. Because the true strength of the destroyer isn't in how much destruction they can cause, but in how much they can sacrifice and still keep going. It's in finding the will to move forward, even when doubt clouds your mind, even when the weight of the mission is crushing, and even when it feels like your purpose is slipping away. Your power may be a curse masquerading as a gift, but it's still yours to wield, and how you use it defines not only the world, but who you are. As the chosen one, you aren't immune to darkness, doubt, or fear. You're as human as anyone else, grappling with the same struggles and questions. The path you walk is lonely, filled with hard choices and inevitable sacrifices. But in the end, the question isn't whether you will be remembered. It's whether you will be able to look at yourself in the ashes of all you've destroyed and know that it was worth it. And if you can still find the strength to keep going, even when you can't see the end, you might just be more than a destroyer. You might be the one who saved the world and learned to live with the cost. If you've made it this far, you're not just a passive observer. You're someone who understands the weight of what it means to face the darkness, the cost of true power, and the struggles of walking a path that few can even comprehend. So if this journey has resonated with you, if you felt the pull of what it means to be the chosen one, don't let this moment fade into the shadows. Subscribe to the channel, because the story doesn't end here. By subscribing, you'll be joining a community that's not just about passive entertainment, but about diving deep into the complexities of power, purpose, and sacrifice. You'll get exclusive access to the latest content, discussions, and insights that will keep you questioning, thinking, and evolving. You are part of this story now, and we're just getting started. So, hit that subscribe button, embrace the journey, and let's continue to explore the unknown together. Because in the end, the world may not need a destroyer, but it sure as hell needs those who dare to understand the price of salvation.